Okay, so guys, when I start to paint, I've got all my cool numbers in here, and when I mean cool numbers, I have my pattern with numbers in here. I used all cool colors, blues and greens and purples, and then I did little design squigglies and circles in the throughout the picture. Not in every one of them, but in most of them. Okay, and if I want to remember, if I had green in the if green was the color, I use a different color for the accent design. Okay, see what I mean? Okay, so now that I'm done with that, and I'm just going to do one here and one here and this one. See how I just did a squiggly and a circle and a circle and a squiggly over here and a circle down here with a squiggly, okay? So now, I'm going to paint in, okay, and I'm going to use warm colors. But if I use warm colors, I want to use red, orange, and yellow. Those are warm colors. But I'm going to start with a yellow because yellow is the lightest of the colors. So I take my brush like we always do. I hold it like a pencil. I put a drop of water in the yellow and I spin my brush. The reason I'm spinning my brush is to get the paint wet because it's watercolor paint. So because you have to add water to the color to get paint. Okay? So when I showed you that other picture that they had painted the whole row in, you don't want to paint the whole row in. Matter of fact, you want to start at the top and work down and just put a little bit of color in each one. And that one I'm going to put a little yellow there. And this one I'll put some up here. And this one I'll put some on the side. On this one I'll put a little teeny bit there. So at each one you just do a little bit of color. The reason you're starting at the top is so by the time you get to the bottom, the top will be dry. Okay, so I just keep going, and I keep going. Because when you're done, like on this example, I did the same thing, but I started with light blue, and I put a little light blue in this one, and in this one, and in this one, and in this one, and I went all the way to the bottom, and then I went back up to the top to do the next color. Okay, do you get what I mean? This way, your colors won't run together. Partly because you're going to put you put that black crayon on your lines, okay, to kind of hold everything in one square. But the other thing it does is that it lets you paint with a darker color next to it, and it won't. Remember when you were little and we painted, and I'd spray your paper first, and you would paint on it, and the paint would run around your paper? We don't want to do that on this one. We want to keep the paint in the little areas. So we want to paint on dry paper. But if we touch paint to wet paint, it's going to run together. So that's why we start at the top and we work down, because by the time we get to the bottom, the top will be dry or almost dry. You might have to wave it a little bit at your table like this. You might have to wave it up and down. And I know it's kind of hard to see I'm waving on the video, but I'm waving it up and down. Okay? And then once you're done with the first color, then you're going to use your second color, okay? And maybe my second color is orange, okay? So I just go through here, and let's pretend I painted that whole thing, then I clean out my brush, I put a drop in orange. You know what, I'm going to put a drop in red too, because I'm going to end up using red later too. So I clean out my brush. Now this is in dry, so I'm going to kind of stay away from the orange so it doesn't run together too much. Okay? And I can always take a piece of scrap paper if I have too much water in my paint and kind of paint some of that water, or use some of the paint to dry out the paint. So now I'm going to do orange. And I do some orange there, and some orange here, and some orange here. See what I mean? So now I've got a little bit of different color of warm in each color. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Okay, and then when that's dry, then I'll use red to fill in the rest of the square. So that is how you add the paint.